Hello again, everyone. Hope you are well on this Thursday afternoon. It is October the 24th. Election warning. I was reading over an article a while ago, it was interesting, about warning about the absolute mess, squeeze, that we could be seeing in the days and weeks after November 5th. I'll go into that a bit. Also, I have a terrific passage that I will share with you from the Bible, so stay tuned for that. But first, I was reading over this earlier, this other story about Representative Mike Turner from Ohio. He's a Republican. Anyway, he put something out there, I believe it was on Twitter, or I guess you call it X now, whatever, that about the North Korean troops that are in Russia now, and it appears they are preparing to go into the fray in Ukraine. And now this story's kind of been running around for a little bit as far as North Korea getting involved in it, and the United States Department of Defense did go ahead and verify that yes, that North Korean troops have entered Russia. It appears that they're in a training mode, but they are preparing to enter into Ukraine, into combat on the side of Russia. And what this representative, Mike Turner, is saying is that if this is truly the case, and if North Korean troops actually invade Ukraine, then the United States should strongly consider going ahead and getting directly involved in military and use military action against those North Korean troops. Now let's think about that for a moment. The first thing that hits me is that I think the North Korean troops would be cannon fodder for Putin. Absolutely. Cannon fodder, no doubt. It doesn't specify how many are involved here. I've heard 3,000. I've heard more than that. But also, it just feels to me that, and this is a Republican saying this, not that it matters anymore, but it just seems that they're looking for any excuse to have a war with Russia directly, like hostilities, ongoing hostilities with the thermonuclear power, another, nuclear power like Russia. Yes, we are a United States is nuclear power also. But do you really want that? Anybody with sense does not want that. No. But it seems like these fools are bent on it. I mean, when's the last time they had a discussion with Mr. Putin? Have we had a sit down with him? Meet in a neutral place or something. He's even said before, well, I'll talk with you guys. We tried just calling him up. Hey, just ring him up. Yo, Vladimir, let's have a talk. But that seems, that seems to be the last thing they want to do. Have they forgotten? Do they not realize what that could lead to? Apparently they don't, or if they do, they don't care. If that's spun out of control, there's nowhere to hide. I don't care what kind of bunker you're in. Doesn't matter. What would you come out to? What would you crawl out? What world would you crawl out into if you did survive a nuclear exchange? Even if there's no nuclear exchange, it could be totally devastating all the way around in multiple levels. So I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know, but hopefully cooler heads will get involved in this kind of that Ukraine-Russia thing, and it tamps down and dies out or whatever. But I don't know. That one didn't hit right or something. That is concerning. Definitely concerning. But I'm just making you aware of it. Also, an election warning. I was reading this article in Daily Mail. It's interesting, but it was talking about how warning that no matter who wins this election, if it's a narrow margin, that we could be looking at a results battle from both sides, challenging the results, dragging America into a full-blown crisis, a constitutional crisis as well. From what I understand, the Vice President, who is now Harris, would have to certify these results. What are the chances of that? Especially if it's a very narrow margin. Most of the experts say that this is a very close race. Now let's pray that it's a large margin, that Trump wins. But if it's a narrow margin, we could definitely face a constitutional crisis from what they're saying. Any close result would be contested by the losing side. Big time legal challenges that would challenge the result with the threat of violence just under the surface. I believe that. In the meantime, we could see big time, not just protests, but seeing those spin out of control. No telling what level that would go to. Harris, they say, would resort, if Trump wins narrowly, Harris would resort to illegal guerrilla warfare and just try to tie this thing up for a while. Maybe even possibly up to January. They say that both sides are heavily lawyered up and have teams of lawyers ready to tackle this. I mean, we could be seeing a situation to where we don't have a clear president, officially a clear official president for quite a while. Last time I remember that was, I believe, in 2000 with Bush and Gore. And that was a pretty wild ride. This could make that pale in comparison. But the difference is now we're more divided than ever as a nation. People are already on edge, anxious. I see video from people, even really young people, who are just, they act like they're just at the end of their rope with all this, and they're just devastated. And then we haven't even had election day yet. So what happens to these people's psyche when November 5th comes and goes and there's challenges to results? There's no clear winner. We have conflict. Like I said, let's pray for a wide, as we say, too big to rig, a large margin win. That's what we need. What if Harris refuses to ratify the results, to certify them? I believe there's a very good chance we're in for a major squeeze show, y'all. Major. We really are. No matter what. But we can pray for a peaceful transfer of power for sure. Are we going to see, the other question is, are we going to see another, let's say Harris does get in there, or they announce that she's the winner. Would we see another January 5th +1 situation like we did the last time? I believe that there's a good chance that if that's the case, I don't think it would be like the last January 5th +1. I believe we would see something much differently, or something much different. I'm going to put it that way. That's the way I'm going to put that, is that we will see something different. Now, interpret that the way you want. But hold on. Buckle up. Keep your heads on a swivel, because I believe that would be a time in our nation to where the tensions would be ratcheted up even so much higher than what they already are, that people, it seems like people have such a short fuse anyway as it is right now, and tempers flaring. You got road rage out. It's just a regular thing now. The vitriol online would absolutely transfer into physical reality, I believe, so quickly and widespread that we would really, really have to be on top of our game. Awareness, head on a swivel, not looking for anything, not going out looking for trouble by any means, but we would have to really be careful to be in a defensive posture and be really ready for something. You'd have to be very careful. I'm not saying you got to hide in a hole, under a cave, under a rock for months, but we would just really have to be careful. I mean, really. Anyway, share your thoughts on that. That's kind of my thoughts right now. Is the way I'm thinking right now, is that this is going to be closer than people want it to be, and because I hear a lot of people like Trump's going to win in a landslide. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm not so sure now. Not that I believe in polls necessarily. I don't. That's been proven. Polls are notoriously inaccurate. But if it's close, then that's going to be a different story. So I'm going to go to a passage. Okay. We are in 1 John. 1 John chapter 4, verse 15 says, "Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him, and he in God." If you confess with your mouth Jesus, not just agree with it, but confess it with your mouth, verbally. Jesus is the Son of God. Of course, I believe Jesus is the Son of God, absolutely. Then God abides in him, and he in God. That automatically, that strengthens us. It gives us authority. And your faith skyrockets. Absolutely. It's just a good reminder. Feels good just to read that. It really does. But let's continue our preparations. I believe the biggest thing is spiritual, of course. Spiritual readiness, spiritual prep. And then just looking at your stocks and looking at your preps and making sure we have provisions, your water, food, and the necessary items and things, your provisions, minimum 2 to 4 weeks. Because we just don't know how this is going to play out. Okay? So the more prepared you are, the more at peace you can be with this. Because it's anxiety provoking, I understand. All right? And we're under 2 weeks. We're fast. It's fast approaching, y'all. Fast approaching. So, again, share your thoughts. Be careful out there. Stay close to Jesus. God bless you, and I will see you soon.